Okay, Nick, let's switch gears a little bit. Talk about the Champions League. Week two was an absolute beauty on both days across the group stage in the Champions League. Paris Saint-Germain beating Manchester City. I think that was obviously the headline. There were some other ones, but to me, that was a game of incredible quality. It looked like the two favourites for
Yes.
the title playing. It was a mixed time for some of the other Premier League teams. We'll talk about that. But what was your big takeaway from PSG Manchester City? Because that was an epic battle in Paris, wasn't it?
It was, and Joe, what my big takeaway, and I'm not trying to drag the other games into this, but the whole week to me felt like there were four, maybe five times that the best team did not win. We already talked about Villarreal, Manchester United, Man City. Rodri had one of the best games I've seen from a midfielder, period. I think he hit something like 9 of 10 or even 10 of 10 long passes. He showed that range. He was the best midfielder on the field, although Pep Guardiola is actually in love with Marco Verratti. So, days of our lives.
Yeah.
I was just, it was a beautiful game. It was everything you want to see when you think about Pep Guardiola and Lionel Messi and Kevin De Bruyne and Neymar and Kylian Mbappe on the same pitch. You think of a game like that. And the two goals, by the way, Ghana Gueye, upper bins, their top bins, excuse me, upper 90, top bins. I'm trying to navigate both sides of the ocean.
Oh, we could do upper bins. That's fine. That's a new
Upper
term, which is great.
bins. Joe, it was right where they met. Like it was
Great
perfectly
finish.
placed. And Messi's goal, I think when you speak of Messi's greatness, you mention goals like that because he's done that. He's scored them 40 times. That exact goal, a give and go, that left foot. We've seen it and it doesn't get old and we'll miss it when it's gone.
So true. You kind of knew, right, when he picked the ball up and before he
Yeah.
even played the 1-2 of Mbappe, you just knew exactly. It was almost like we've seen this so many times before. He's going to run onto this, get it back, curl it in the top corner and go and celebrate. And
Yeah.
it was sensational to see Messi score his first goal for PSG and
So,
celebrate because he's had a rough start to life in
yeah.
Paris, right? So it
You
was
know what
fun to
it's
see
like?
that.
You know what it's like? It's that TV show you've watched a bunch of times and literally you've watched the episode a bunch of times, but you're still kind of shocked when the twist
Yeah.
happens. It's like, when Kima gets shot in the wire, like that's what it's like. Something very powerful is about to happen, and you're still like, there it is, Leo.
There it is. He pulled it out of the bag once again. Man City, though, you mentioned it there, were really good. They created so many chances. I'm not sure how Bernardo Silva missed from that double crossbar hit from Raheem Sterling's header, and then somehow he didn't finish it off. I mean, we've talked about it before, but that lack of a clinical striker, that's going to be the difference for them, right? Because we saw Lionel Messi, his finishing, that killed the game off. But if Man City had a Messi or a Harry Kane or a Ronaldo, then they would have beaten PSG, I think, because on the balance of play, Grealish, De Bruyne, Foden when he came on, they all looked very, very good and created a lot of opportunities.
I think it's the caliber of player. And this
Yeah.
is a team with a high caliber of player. But you heard Pep kind of bristle after the game. He was asked, hey, I know you've got Gabriel Jesus on the right, and that was an issue. And, center forward, I know that you think you can get, and he like cuts off the interview to say, no, Raheem Sterling was playing center forward. You think I'm not playing a center forward? I'm not playing a guy that you recognize as a center forward, but that's the answer. And Joe, the one thing I wish we could do just to see how it would be transpire, because we have Lukaku in the Premier League and Cristiano Ronaldo and Harry Kane. As I tried to will this into existence, Robert Lewandowski to Man City, I would love to see where they are right now because he scores in every game he plays. And I wonder if we won't see just up until the January window starts an extended run for Gabby Jesus at center forward to see what comes out.
Yeah, he was good against Chelsea. Like I said, I was at that
Good
game. He
player.
played right wing and was tracking back a lot, but then you saw his ability just to have that striker's knack, even though he's not a real proper number nine. He said it himself. He used to play out on the wing a lot, doesn't mind playing through the middle. But he scored that goal against Chelsea and had that clinical edge. But they should have beaten Chelsea by 4 or 5. They probably should have scored 2 or 3 against PSG and got something from that game. So I think in those big, big games throughout the course of a season, even when they're dominating play like we know they're going to, not having that finisher is going to come back to bite them in the bottom, as we would say over here. So I want to focus though on Messi because, like we said, he had a tough start to life in Paris. We are comparing his start to Cristiano Ronaldo's start at Manchester United and how he's hit the ground running. That battle, I mean, was incredible even in the Champions League this week. Messi scores a great goal, a great moment to win it for PSG against Man City, the clinching goal, the second one that really put them away with the win. And then the next night, Ronaldo, not only does he break the all-time appearance record in the Champions League, he then scores a 95th minute winner at Old Trafford against Villarreal to bow Manchester United out. So those two, they just kind of defy Father Time, don't they? They defy logic, and they just can keep doing it. I mean, it's incredible to watch that battle still going on, even though they're both at different teams after having big transfers over the summer.
To me, I look at it and there's an NFL comparison, and it's tricky because Messi's only like 3 years or 2 years younger than Ronaldo. But Ronaldo's Tom Brady. He's going to keep playing and he's going to keep being hated for being good looking. And there's obviously an off-field difference there. Messi to me is like Pat Mahomes, and he's this kind of freak of nature, this artist. He's obviously older, but like he should catch, if he stays on these teams, he should catch all of Ronaldo's records. And I think it's taking some getting used to. But Guardiola said it after the game. He said, I think of this group of three: Mbappe, Neymar, Messi. And when I think of them, I think of what I had. I think of Eto'o and Henry and Messi. And and then he also mentions Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. Well, what's the universal thread there? It's, in my opinion, the greatest artist of all time to hit the pitch. And Messi and Ronaldo, we will probably be sitting there at age 80, still talking about which one was the best of all time. And to have two players of that quality playing at the same time in the same competitions is, again, it's something I'm thankful for. Let's be grateful that we have access to this sort of wizardry.
I look forward to that discussion a few decades from now when you and I are having a beer in our 80s and we discuss that. I want to discuss, though, out of Ronaldo and Messi, which of those players is more important to their team in the Champions League this season? Is Messi more important to PSG's success and winning the Champions League? Or is Ronaldo more important to Manchester United's success?
This is the weirdest thing to say, Joe. But when I think about that, I think they almost cancel each other out. And you almost want to look to the player number 2 on that team because they both have the same amount of import. I'll say this, Messi drags people all over the field. Wherever he is, and Ronaldo definitely, he's active too. He's not a statue. He's not the sort of Chris Wondolowski, let me hold up the ball for you. There's a comparison that hasn't been made a ton when we drag MLS into the equation. But I look at Ronaldo and I think about him as a target guy, as a guy who's going to get his shots off. I think Messi's more of an actual game plan changer. Ronaldo, you have to account for him, of course, but you're going to get some standard stuff out of him. It's more about don't give up a set piece here. Don't give up a free kick. Don't let him free to a header. Be strong. Don't be intimidated. With Messi, it's where is he on the field? Because I feel like he can score from behind the net.
Yeah, he just pulls something out of nothing all the time. He did that a few times, involved in the first goal for PSG against Man City, and an absolute genius. But I agree with you. I just think that I'd actually say Ronaldo is more important to Man United's success because I think without him, they haven't got a chance of going far in the Champions League. I think he's going to bail them out in big moments. And I think for PSG, Messi can have an off day and Neymar or Mbappe can score a hat-trick and win a game for him as well. And Verratti is so good. And obviously Marquinhos has been great as centre-back. And then in goal, Donnarumma was excellent as well against Manchester.
He was great.
Yeah, really good.
So was De Gea, for the record. We've dogged on De Gea enough.
Yeah.
Dean Henderson was the shiny toy for a little while, but De Gea looks like De Gea again. But Donnarumma and him were maybe the two best goalkeepers of this particular round.
I agree. But when it comes to Ronaldo and Messi, they're just going to be there, I think, until maybe they're in their 80s, Nick, scoring goals in the Champions League. That's what it seems like. But two incredible moments, one night after the other. Anything you can do, I can do better. That was the soundtrack in Ronaldo's head when he saw Messi scoring a screamer the night before. And then he went and did it in true fashion. So lovely storyline.
Joe, has he ever taken his shirt off before the ball has been in the goal? That's what I want to know. Because they zoomed on him and the shirt was already off. Like he's almost as good at finishing as he had disrobing. It was unbelievable. I'll stop.
Yeah, he already knew in his mind that ball was in the back of the net, and the celebration was planned, and that's just the way it works with him. Talk about some of the other Premier League teams. A couple struggled in Champions League in midweek. Obviously, Man City lost. Man United just got a last-gasp win against Villarreal. Chelsea lost away at Juventus. Did we expect some of these struggles, Nick, given the intensity of some of the big clashes early season in the Premier League? I mean, with Chelsea in particular, they seem to have hit a bit of a sticky patch and injuries have started to pile up. And Lukaku was a little bit off form against Juve, could have scored a couple. So what do you think about that?
I think there's a sneaky subplot coming to Chelsea with Lukaku at center forward because Tammy Abraham's gone. And I just wonder what's the plan when Lukaku needs a day off if you're going to need to win so many points to finish atop the table. And I'll tell you why I'm worried. And this is a topic I think we're covering later in the show, but I'm worried because Liverpool is reminding everybody how good they are. And you saw it with Diogo Jota. He clearly is preferred right now to Bobby Firmino, but when he's not going, Klopp doesn't hesitate to put Firmino in. And does Chelsea have that guy? That's my question to you, Joe.
Timo Werner. So
well, right, yeah, but yeah,
but no, there's a huge drop off there in production in goals, so they don't have that guy. You're right. So I think Chelsea was starting to see that maybe some of the backup options aren't as strong as we maybe thought they were. So that is kind of a big problem for them. And it's early in the season. Let's not make any huge sweeping statements, but I think we probably expected some of these poor results for Premier League teams early in the season. Considering for Chelsea, so many of their players went deep in the Euros, and all of that's coming into play as well. But yeah, it is always interesting, I think, for the Premier League, given how strong it is. That there's the old argument in the Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, and Liga that some of these giants are in the Champions League in midweek. A lot of their games are a lot easier at the weekend than some of the Premier League teams are getting, right? So I think that's a fair argument early in the season, given how many big clashes in Man City and Chelsea's case they've had before these big games in midweek. You said they're Liverpool flying, they hammered Porto. On the other side, I think, should we be worried maybe about some of the defensive issues? Trent Alexander-Arnold's been struggling with injury. Milner's been doing a sterling job, but, he's not getting any younger, and he's playing it right back, and he's slotted in okay there. But they conceded 3 at Brentford last time out in the Premier League. Is that the only way you see Liverpool not going far in the Champions League this season if they do have a bit of a relapse defensively?
Yeah, I think there's a chance for that. I think that Klopp has been waiting for Matip to give him a reason to try Konate with Van Dijk, and he hasn't yet. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been good. Liverpool, I think, has scored at least 3 goals in 5 straight games. And the one thing I want to say is Mohamed Salah is probably enough for most teams to stay alive in any competition. He may be the most underappreciated superstar because I think Liverpool had such a meteoric, follow me here, Liverpool had such a meteoric rise, right? We were talking about the trident with Mane and Salah and Firmino. And I think we almost moved on from Salah to Mane last year because we wanted to make sure everybody was getting their due. But Salah gets 4 good chances a game. And last year, how many times did we say he wasn't in form and he was still in the Golden Boot race? I would argue that we are expecting too much out of Salah, given the fact that Liverpool is as good as they are. I think that they can outscore anybody. And the one thing I'm seeing, and we've seen a lot of managers try to give young players minutes to grow. Curtis Jones looked elite in this part of the tournament. He looked out of this world good. And Klopp gave him his growing pains in a title fight. And I'm worried about them. I'm worried for other teams about them because Jurgen Klopp is a genius. And I feel like we moved on from them looking for the next big thing without realizing they're still a pretty big thing.
They are. They're deeper as well this year, as long as they can stay okay with injuries. There are only minor injuries to Alexander-Arnold, some of the other key players. I think you're right. And Curtis Jones, brilliant 2-way midfielder. He's added like an extra grit to his play, which I've noticed. And And of course, we know he's got an eye for the spectacular. Saw that goal he scored against Brentford last time out. Took a bit of a deflection, but still a heck of a strike. And yeah, another young talent that Liverpool have coming through their midfield. So sensational there, and sensational upsets. We have to talk about some of the other storylines to wrap things up in the Champions League. Sheriff Tiraspol, their first ever season in the Champions League. They've won their opening 2 games in group play. They sit top of the table above Real Madrid and Inter Milan, and they won 2-1 at Real Madrid, the 13 times Champions League winners, with a 90th minute screamer to win the game. I mean, that is one of the biggest upsets in Champions League history. Their story is incredible. They're the Moldovan champions, but they're not even technically from Moldova. They're from an unrecognized state called Transnistria, which
of course, yeah, I've been there several times.
Yeah, if you have to just read up on this Transnistria online, because there is some incredible stories around the team, and yeah, some different things going on there. Let's just put it like that, and you'll learn a lot more about that. But incredible story that was, and that was on the plus side, I think. What do you make of that first? Because that's the beauty of the Champions League, right? That's why we didn't want the Super League, and that's why nobody wants a closed shop in Europe.
To quote the immortal Clash, Sharif does like it. I wanted to make every joke. The badge, the sheriff's badge on the jersey, it's like a movie. And I know that
Sheriff in town.
Yeah. There's KGB stuff. I know that there's some dicey stuff. It's not the most Cinderella thing, but I loved it for them. I love that honestly, we are legitimately considering a potential Champions League draw of Salzburg versus Sharif. Like both of those teams are well positioned to advance right now. So I loved it. I loved it for the players. And we talk about this sport, and anybody who's played soccer, anybody who's been on the field, they've gone up against a team that they didn't expect to beat and at least got something out of it or been in the game. I love this for that. I love the looks. We have to pick pictures for our articles. Every picture of the goal celebrations had a picture of bewilderment on the Sharif players' faces. And, that's what you sign up for. We see it in the Olympics on NBC all the time, right? That upset story. But to see Real Madrid, who's going to be fine, it doesn't mean anything to them, really, except maybe some egg on their face. To Sharif, it means everything. And that was great.
It was a great moment. It was one of the true great Champions League moments. So well done to those Sharif players. Absolutely sensational result. And but we've seen a lot more of them in this season's competition after 2 wins from 2. I want to finish up with Barcelona. I know it's a club close to your heart. Ronald Koeman is having a terrible time. We know the financial problems. We know they lost a lot of players, but they've got a lot of good players still at the club. They were hammered by Benfica. They've lost the first 2 Champions League group stage games. They're in disarray. Yeah. What's your thoughts on Barcelona, Nick Mendola?
I just don't know how to fix them. I don't, because I don't know that Koeman's terrible, but he's not the sort of person to make the old chicken salad out of you-know-what. He's just not that manager. He might be a fine manager when you give him great ingredients for the recipe. But there are so many very good players. PK's still there. Frankie de Jong. Pedri's going to be great. But when you look up top, to consider what they've had for the last 20 years, and nothing against Memphis Depay and Luke de Jong, I don't want to judge them for taking jobs at Barcelona. When was the last time their strikers were that underwhelming? And they went down 2-0 to Benfica, and I thought, well, they're losing. When Messi's there, when Neymar's there, you go down 2-0 and you think they'll probably still win. That's a big deal. Big deal.
Yeah. Big storyline there to watch in Champions League this season, because Bayern Munich are flying in that group. And some of the big boys are really looking good across Europe right now early on. So over at Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com, we'll keep you updated with all the latest Champions League news, previews, how to watch, the schedules, recaps and videos. And this is only the start. We're only in week 2. So it's going to be a lot of fun this season to watch it all play out.